I'm Becky. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for joining me on my little speck on the net. Started on this. I'm going to go over the list that is kind of a general rule list.
See down below for Dr. Westman's full list.
Started. I pretty much stuck to this for the first couple months anyway. I just really tried to keep it really simple. Anyway, so the other day we were talking about oils, and this is one I did not bring up, and this is ghee. This is a clarified butter. I don't use it very often. I just really want you to know that this has nothing to do with buying into a program. This is just you knowing what to pick up, knowing how to prepare. And it's simple foods. If you can complicate it as much as you want as far as some of these recipes go, but for the most part, honestly, just keep it simple, especially when you're first starting. We'll start with the meats. And the meats are anything from beef, so that's steak, hamburger, whatever, pork. Then you've got lamb, veal, something I don't normally get into, but just any kind of fattier meats. And if you're gonna go with your steak, get some that has fat in it. And if you can, always remember anytime you're having your meat, try when you're going shopping, and it's the cheaper meat, go with the darker meat. Like with chicken, you want the darker, get your wings, get your legs. Same with turkey. Keep the skin on. Skin's not your enemy. So that's how you get a lot of the fats in. And make sure the bone's in there, because the bones really help with, as it's being cooked, a lot of times you get a lot of the collagen and things if you kind of suck on the end of the bone, whatever. But I'll probably go into how I make my own bone broth, which is excellent for skin, hair, nails. But anyway, getting back to the meats, you're looking at turkey, chicken, duck, and then eggs. I can't even tell you, that's my go-to. I love eggs because I love scrambling them. I like to poach them. I like to hard boil them. So anyway, yeah, I'm an omelet girl. Because you can throw in and you can change it up so many different ways. But anyway, eggs will be your friend. Don't worry about the yolks. In fact, if you're going to eat any part of the egg, make sure it is the yolk. Fish and shellfish, tuna fish, salmon, catfish, lobster, crab, shrimp, trout, fishes. You really do want to make sure that you're getting a lot of the omega fatty acids, which is the 3 omega fatty acids, and that is really great, especially if you are into sardines or salmon. Get it in. Those are amazing for you. Our doctor suggested that we eat fish like those at least 2 to 3 times a week. And I always try to do that because I love sardines. I like to whip it up just like you were doing tuna fish, making with the mayonnaise and a little bit of pickle juice with the salt and pepper. And I actually just cut up celery sticks and I just eat it like that. So instead of the bread, you just use one or like chips of like cucumber. Anyway, so now greens and vegetables. You've got arugula, bok choy, romaine, kale, spinach, anything like that, radishes, water chestnuts, parsley. And also I do like your crucifixus. Oh, I can't say that. It is the vegetable crucifixus. I need to go back to school.
Helping a girl out. It's a cruciferous.
Ding, 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 we have a winner. Artichokes, asparagus, broccoli, cauliflower, like those are other vegetables that you can have, like with your celery or whatever. And then you've got beans are okay as long as they're like string beans. Mushrooms are fine. I'm just gonna, zucchini, that's one thing I do eat. I'm kind of looking over here because I kind of have a list sitting up here for me to kind of go on. And also olives, I love my olives. Green olives, black olives, those are great. And avocados are great. They're really, really have so many of the wonderful nutrients that we really need in our diet. Cheese, cream cheese, sour cream, mayonnaise. Just make sure they're full fat, and just check to make sure there's not a whole bunch of added sugar to anything that you are getting your hands on. Mayonnaise, like this list here that I'm providing you with, it says 2 tablespoons of mayo per day, which is a lot actually. Berries. Oh, I love berries. Berries are one of those things you kind of have to be a little careful on, and I only do like maybe like they say a quarter cup a day. I don't ever go over like an ounce of any kind of blueberries, and I usually bring them home, throw them under the water, get them all cleaned off, and lay them out on a paper towel, then put it in a Ziploc baggie, and I throw it in the freezer. So I eat them like kind of a snack, a candy. Just remember, close to your meal. Anyway, you got blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, huckleberries, and you'll see a couple others on there, but I don't. Condiments, lemon, lime, 4 teaspoons per day. Mustard, salt and pepper, vinegar. You don't really have to restrict your salt in this unless your doctor has told you anything different. That we can probably go into a little bit more about the salt, why it's such a taboo thing, but I love my salt. I eat salt. Like, I put it on my tongue. I like it. I use my pink Himalayan salt. My favorite, the Malton sea salt flakes. And I also get the smoked flavor. If you can't find this, I actually put it in little containers, and I have it in my pockets. I have it in my car. I have it by where I sit to watch TV or whatever. Just sometimes if my electrolytes are down, I'll just stick my tongue in there when I golf, and people are always going, "What are you doing?" Because I'm always flicking it and a little plastic thing. And it's just something that our bodies actually really need, and come to find out that it's always been something taboo, and they're finding out that it's not bad. Thank goodness, because I love my salt. My apple cider vinegar, and a lot of times my drink. Usually just like a tablespoon in a great big, Yeti-like cup. Avoid pickle food with added sugars. Yes, anytime you see, always read the ingredients. I know I've kind of gone over that a lot, but I'm telling you, read your ingredients. That, if I could go back and really know what I was looking for back in the day, I would have never been in some of the predicament, all these yo-yo ways of eating, because I have never learned really how to read a label. And as long as the calories were fine and the fat was fine, I thought I was fine, but obviously it just didn't do me any good. But check for your sugars. And anyway, so pickles, go for pickles. Who doesn't love pickles? And pickle juice will be your friend if you're starting to feel like you are kind of getting the keto flu, or you feel like you're low on electrolytes. Keep those up. Take a big swig of pickle juice, because I'm telling you, it'll help you out. And because if you don't like salt your food or whatever, you're going to need some of those minerals, and it'll help you out. Snacks are pork rinds, like pepperoni slices, beef slices, any type of like sandwich slices in like some mozzarella cheese, the string cheese, whatever. You can roll the meat around it and have that for a lunch. You just eat until you basically get full. And don't starve. You don't have to starve yourself, especially when you first start this. Go into it as, I'm changing the way I'm eating. You're going to lose weight, but always make sure you measure, weigh, and that way you can kind of keep track of where you're at. But just do it because you want to be healthy, and the weight will just start dropping off. And so just remember, you're only in competition with yourself, and try to do this before you have an event or anything like that going on. Because I'm telling you, just get started and you're going to realize that, hey, I can do this. And we do the keto way, call it dirty keto. I don't know, because we do use the almond flour and coconut flour a lot, and that's something that's not on this particular list, which I am also going to be adding a list of things that I actually have added to it that it doesn't jack with my glucose as well. But any kind of legumes like pinto beans, lima beans, black beans, those are out. They have lectins in it that totally turn into, the beans will turn into sugar like a potato. So keep in mind that beans are no longer your friend unless they're like a green bean, string bean, or something like that. But for the most part, don't do that. Of course, white sugar, brown sugar, any kind of sugar, honey, It's out of the question. Rice is not low fat. Well, it might be low fat, low calorie, but it's not. It also turns to sugar, so it just has so much starch in it. Just remember, starch, not good. So any of your corn starches, anything like that, try to stay away from. Popcorn, dang it, right? Some of your root vegetables, like say, like of course your potatoes, but like carrots have a lot of carbs in it, and so not that I completely steer away from them, but like say if it's in a salad or something, like at a restaurant or something. I mean, I'll kind of eat around some of the bigger chunks because they are sweeter. In fact, you don't realize until you get on this diet the things that are so sweet tasting to you that probably you never even considered it being sweet to begin with. So carrots are one of those things. This is on the do not. Maple syrup, of course. Crackers, molasses, corn syrup, different milks, flours, cornstarch bread, pastas, muffin, bagels, anything that's going to grains, whole grains, yikes. I've watched a whole thing on the whole grain thing, and it's what's caused all the wheat belly and all the mind fog and everything. We're just carved out. That's the best way to put it. So beer, I know everybody, if they're following along on this list, they're going, hey, what about the beer? Try to stick with the lower carb, light beers, which the one that we like the best is the Michelob Ultra. I always have green olives in my beer, so it looks like a little lava lamp. And that was not even a thing when I came down here to the South. I actually had a few people that used to live up north, and they go, oh, you must be from the north. Correct, I am. And they said, oh yeah, we used to, and mayonnaise and ketchup mixed together, like before we were keto, that was another little indicator that you were from the north. Now it's starting to become a fry sauce, everything here, which up north, you could go to Sonic and get the fry sauce already mixed together in the little packets like you would ketchup. Eat until you really get full, and just stop when you're not hungry. If you don't finish everything on your plate, just push it aside. That's one of the things on this list. It says you don't have to count calories. Hey, if you're losing weight and you're not counting calories, seriously, just keep on doing what's working. I'm just saying what has worked for me. The all of choice is vodka, so I'm kind of a vodka snob. I love Kettle One vodka, a little on the spindier side or Belvedere, but I like that with soda water with a twist of lime. So like if I'm going out and we're going out with some friends, I'll have a shot of vodka and I'll have them put it in a double glass with the soda water with some lime, and I squeeze it in there, and it's delicious. It's great. I mean, it's a great little cocktail to have. Or I have a dirty martini, vodka martini, and so it's just straight up vodka, and I always like them to leave a little bit of the shaved ice in it because I love the green olives in there. And what makes it dirty is when they take a little bit of the olive juice and pour it in there, and it kind of makes it a little bit milky, but advocating alcohol by any means. But hey, it's real life here. You're gonna find that we like to get out and about. My husband and I do. We have a great life. We have fun, and I'm not gonna let something like this way of eating stop me from doing the things that I love. I just want to make sure that you realize that you can make this work, and to your benefit, and you're going to start seeing other people are going to go, hey, and that's the whole reason why I started this channel, is people are going, well, what are you doing, how are you doing? And it's hard to explain this because there's a lot to it. It's not as hard as what people make it out to be, especially if you just keep everything really simple. It's not that hard. Vodka, whiskey, tequila, dry wines, just make sure you're not doing the sweet wines. Sweet wines will totally jack with your glucose. So just keep in mind, track your carbs, and but go with your dry. And I'll have a dry champagne. That's another one of my favorite. But we don't drink, but maybe at the most once a week usually. So we don't sit at home and have drinks here at the house, unless we're entertaining or something. But for the most part, when we go out, we'll have like one, maybe two drinks. Unless we get a room someplace and we don't have to drive, then hello. that's a vacation. And that's when we go off the whole counting and everything. So I shouldn't say we. My husband really doesn't count. He's just really good about knowing where he's at and just sticking with the food groups. And, you know, he just doesn't care to track. And that's one thing, and which is great. Hey, he's doing great. He's lost, what, 50, 60 pounds, something like that already. So, hey, it's doable. And this is all stuff that you can incorporate throughout the whole year or a lifetime, which is what I'm planning on doing. I really do want to change my ways and still eat foods that I love. I'm going to teach you how to make treats, but I'm telling you, when you first start this on this journey, just try to keep it as simple as possible to get yourself fat adapted to where you're burning the fat instead of the carbs. And again, I'm going to go over the whole keto flu. Drink your pickle juice, salt your foods, and that will help a lot with your electrolytes. I know it has for me. I'm sure there's other things that you can do. Another thing I will warn you on is, since I started this, I noticed in about October, November time, all of a sudden I start seeing all these keto products all over. I mean, everybody's jumping on this bandwagon, and just to let you know, a lot of this stuff is not great for you. Like some of the Adcom bars and Slim Fast and stuff like that. And a lot of people try to put the keto diet in the Atkins category, but Atkins, from my understanding, has been bought out. So it's not the original Atkins. So they use a lot of the fillers, a lot of the hidden type sugars. I'm sure they probably have products now because they really want to stick and try to get into a lot of this hype with the whole keto. But so really just read the ingredients and see if it's worth it. See if you want to do it. Check your carbs. But at first, you know, anytime you're eating like a processed food, all I can tell you is look at the carbs. Don't deduct the fibers from anything that has that's processed. The only time I would even suggest when you first start is to deduct your fiber would be for vegetables. And that's if you feel like you need more. If you can, try to stay in the 20 grams total for all your vegetables and everything. I have been told 1 fist of steamed vegetables and 2 fists of the green leafy vegetables a day. I've just heard that from a couple of the people that I watch on YouTube. Basically, eat till I'm full, and just one thing you're gonna find that you're just not gonna eat as much because these foods are so dense and so good, and the fats in them and everything. You're just it stays with you longer. Now I only eat like 2 meals a day. I hardly ever eat breakfast, and usually when I say breakfast, that usually means around noon. I've been up for at least 5 to 6 hours minimum, but that's called intermittent fasting. But I really don't necessarily do that because I feel like I have to or anything. I'm just not really normally hungry because I usually have my coffee in the morning, and I'm usually good. I mean, I'm pretty content because I'll kind of be doing stuff around the house or whatever. But hey, do you honestly? At first, eat your breakfast, eat your lunch, eat your dinner. You're just gonna find that as time goes by, you're satisfied a lot easier, and you start getting to where you don't crave a lot of the stuff that you normally crave so bad. Oh, okay. So Mexican food, like if you go out for dinner or whatever. Oh my God, I love Mexican food. That is my crack. Yeah, that is one thing I thought, oh, I can't give up chips and salsa. Now salsa, I do salsa, but I also watch and make sure they don't add any sugar to it. So salsa's not bad. You just, calculate it into your carbs and you'll get it. But just check for the sugar. And so like a lot of times what I like to do is I take some cream cheese and heat it up in the microwave for maybe 3 to 7 seconds maybe until you hear the first little snap. A little salsa in there. I mix it up, and then I take my pork rinds and I eat it like that. So, and another thing, pork rinds are your friends. Those are great little snacks. Way of like pork chops, dip it in little egg wash, and then crunch up a whole bunch of your pork rinds. put it in a little baggie, crunch it up, and then stick the pork chop in there, shake it up like you would shake a bake, throw it in a pan of sizzling butter. Delicious, unbelievable. And try to make sure all your meats come with bones in it. Dark meats are great. Don't be afraid of that. I mean, you can have your skinless, boneless chicken, but when you first try to get fat adapted, you really want to train your body to realize it's not going to starve. And when you are changing over to that, there is a way of testing yourself to see if you are in ketosis. A lot of people will get the little pea strips. So just to test their urine. But those aren't really that accurate once you get going. I mean, you can tell if you're in ketosis, I guess, if your body's eliminating ketones. But there is a breath test. But that doesn't seem to be really accurate as well. I've just kind of been hearing some different things on that one as well. So anyway, but I use the blood test. So I test my glucose, I test my ketones at least once a day, if not twice a day. I just like to see what foods do to me. I mean, because I love my cheesecakes I make. I like especially if you like pumpkin cheesecake or pumpkin anything. Oh my gosh, Christmas time, I kind of went wild on all the treats. But you know what? It was Christmas, but I didn't really eat anything that I shouldn't have been eating. I just ate more of keto approved, let's say, treats. But I probably went overboard on those. But that was before I got my little keto meter, which dang it, I wish I had that because that would have been fun to be testing when I was all crazy with all my Christmas treats that I made that were all keto. And what's fun is your family and friends are going to come over and you're going to, hey, try this. And they'll say, there's no way they would have thought that this was sugar-free or it was something that you could have. Deprived at all. I'm telling you, I have something sweet every single day. I know that probably doesn't compute with a lot of you. That's not keto people or whatever. But you know, it's okay. Do you. I'm telling you, you're better off doing that because you could take one little Snicker, a little Snicker candy bar from a trick-or-treat bag, and it has so many carbs in it. Probably what you're supposed to have in a day. Maybe not quite, but maybe 2 of those would jack you over. So a big pop drinker, soda drinker, whatever you want to call it, depends on if you're from the north or from the south. I love sushi, that's one thing. Rice is out. A lot of times what I'll use instead of rice is cauliflower rice because you can fry this up, you microwave it, you can fry it up. We'll kind of go over a couple of recipes. You can also make mashed potatoes out of it. Changing, my whole pantry is completely changed. I don't have sugar in my house anymore. I don't have flour. I don't have like brown sugar. I use all like erythritol, almond flour, coconut flour, psyllium husk. But you're gonna find that the almond flour and coconut flour, you can make like breads, you can make muffins, you can make donuts. It's just a different way, and it's you can't like substitute it necessarily for say like if you're using some of your old cookbooks or whatever. You have to kind of know how to switch over because coconut flour is completely different than almond flour and its consistency, how it incorporates with any kind of wet ingredients. Pinterest is a great place to try to find any kind of keto recipes, but I'm going to try to make this list on this to where you kind of know what products are keto. Keep it simple on the very basic list. Get some weight off, then you can start playing to kind of see what slows your weight loss down. If your weight loss is slowed down and you are kind of doing the almond flour and some of the sweeter treats and stuff, then you may want to lay off those. Sometimes you just have to kind of change it up a little. Just know that, hey, you got this. You can do it. And then, not that, hey, and if you decide like, okay, this isn't really what I want to do, and even if you could incorporate a quarter of what we're talking about, and just trying to lower your carbs, this is pretty drastic. I understand that. But if you want to burn fat instead as fuel rather than the glycogen, the carbs and everything, know that this is something you're going to have to adjust. So if you're in it for this, use this list. I'm going to put out my extra added list that I don't see on this list that I've incorporated.
See below for the link to my extra foods list.
I hope this helps you. It would help me out just kind of know who's watched it or whatever. Hit like, subscribe. And then if you hit subscribe, hit the little bell. After you hit it, there's a little bell. And hit it one more time and it comes up like a little parenthesis kind of thing around it. And what that does, it will let you know anytime I have a new video come out. And hey, that way you can stay up with where we're at. And I'm going to just try to slowly get you into this. There's a lot of information coming at once, so don't be afraid to ask questions, seriously. Peace, love, all that is good. Don't give away your power. You've got this. This is for you. Don't do it for anybody else. Don't do it for an event. I'm serious. Just start in on it and you're going to realize, wow, I love these foods. And unless you don't, I guess. But I have no problem. This is like a godsend for me. So anyway, ciao for now. And what would this video be without my little sweet little mascot? This is little Coco. Coco, look. 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 We want to just tell you thank you so much for chiming in. And we love you. Have a great day.